Alright everybody, thanks for watching. If you're a subscriber of mine, thanks for all the support, and thanks for tuning in again. If you're just a flyby, then welcome and thanks for watching my video. Few things to start out before we get into this knife. Sorry that my hands look like crap. It's just kind of how it is. I was going to wear gloves, but it's kind of distracting. And I personally hate it when people's hands look like crap, so sorry. Also got an injury. We'll go into that in the video for that knife later in a different video. Another thing, to my subscribers, stay tuned because I will have more knives coming up. That said, let's get into this bad boy here. This is the Smith & Wesson Extreme Ops. This is the Smith & Wesson Bullseye Extreme Ops. Ridiculous name, but overall not that bad of a knife. Let's rattle off all the boring stuff first, and then we will get into my opinions and things like that. The length of this knife closed is going to be just over 4 inches. So there you go. Blade length is just shy of 3 1/4 inch. Overall length is 7 3/8 inches. The weight, according to a retailer, an online knife retailer, is 2.88 ounces. I do not have a scale sensitive enough to weigh this thing, but I will say that it is light, so that 2.88 is going to be fairly close. It is very lightweight, and part of that's due to the fact that it has aluminum handle scales, or aluminum handles rather. I keep wanting to call them scales, they're not really scales, but so aluminum handles, and it only has a liner on the locking side. The non-locking side is just the aluminum itself. The liner itself is not skeletonized. See, you should be able to see all the way through, but cannot. The liner is your standard thickness, standard liner thickness. Not like the beefy liners in the Gerber Remix Tactical. This one has pretty thick liners. The blade steel is most probably going to be 440A. Not everyone's favorite steel. A lot of knife snobs out there really just scoff at 440A. I feel like it's a decent steel for its price. It does not hold an edge the greatest, but for its price point, it's not too shabby. The blade is a tanto blade shape, partially serrated, and it is a partial hollow grind. The price you can find on this is anywhere from $15 to $17. So again, there's that price point that I was talking about. And so now we'll get into things I like, dislike. Things that I really like is the blade shape. Excuse me. I'm a big fan of the tanto blade shape, but this one is a little bit different than some. Notice here on the Gerber, the angle is much more abrupt than on this one, which comes to a much more acute point. Now, this is both good for the point, but it's also bad for the sub-tip here, because this sub-tip is more pronounced than this one. that's just me kind of nerding out about the tanto, but you know, I could take either one. Both of these are what I would prefer in a tanto. Either you go to an acute point and have this style of this angle, or you go here to where you have a good point here and a good sub tip as well. And you're also, one of the cons to this blade shape is that you also sacrifice the sub tip, but also the cutting edge, the primary cutting edge is much shorter because you have now basically two equal lengths of a straight edge rather than a longer primary cutting edge to a you know, the secondary tanto. That coupled with the serrations provides a very short cutting edge, and I hate these serrations. So I could take this blade shape or leave it. Overall, I'm happy with the way that it's shaped. I'm just not happy with the serrations. If they get rid of those, this knife would be really good. A lot better than it already is. Another pro is going to be the thumb studs. They are very round, so very comfortable thumb studs. I'm kind of a thumb stud snob because I've had some pretty bad ones in the past. Love these. Another pro is going to be its speed. It's very, very quick. As you see, no wrist needed. This is not a assisted opening, nor does it have phosphor bronze washers in it. Just your typical white nylon washers. As you see, it's a little rocket. It likes to shoot out there pretty quickly. Lockup, pretty good. A very, very, very minute amount of left to right wobble, but that's if I really put a lot of pressure on it. Almost no, yeah, not really any up and down at all that I can feel. Blade centering from the factory was exactly where it is now. It was perfect. And this is another pro to this knife. This is the only knife I've ever had, only folding knife, that I've never had to adjust the pivot. Obviously, fixed blades do not have pivots. I don't know how they did this or what they did to achieve it, but kudos to Taylor Brands. That's who makes this knife, or at least imports it. Kudos to them, because I've never ever had to adjust this pivot, never had to tighten it, it's never loosened. The blade centering has never shifted. Perfect. And one of the last pros that I'll say is that this thing is very lightweight, again, as I said, for given how its size. Okay. Some of the cons to this knife is going to be this handle. It is aluminum and it is painted with this glossy black paint. Thus, when your hands are wet, when they have blood on them or oil, you know, just your hands' natural oils, it doesn't really provide any sort of traction whatsoever. There's also no significant finger groove here or guard to prevent your hand from slipping up the blade if you were to thrust into something hard, and then you could slide up on the blade. There's a thumb ramp here, and it is very naturally located, good placement, but the jimping on the top of the thumb ramp is very, very poor. It is not very good jimping at all. It's very round. It's just not functional. Another con is going to be the pocket clip. It is not a deep carry clip at all. Let's use this. This is going to be kind of difficult with this clip because it's so stiff. So there is both a good and a bad about the clip. As I just said, it is a very, very strong pocket clip, very stiff. You're not going to lose this. That is my cat. Get down, stupid. Alright. So, back to the pocket clip. Very strong. You know, this is paper, and it stayed put. But that's how much is going to stick out of your pocket. Not very impressive at all. And it is tip down, right hand carry only. So most everybody prefers tip up, and most people will generally like it when it's deeper carry and swappable. But this is none of those. And the last complaint I will have with this knife is one that's going to be primarily with my particular model. When I got this about 10 years ago, when I was about a freshman in high school, the lock would not properly engage. You know, I like this knife a lot, and I just wanted to be kind of truthful with you, because I had to grind away, not really grind, but take away a little bit of material on the blade stock itself where the liner lock would engage, because I think they left too much on there, so when the knife opened up, the lock would just ever so tinily be engaged, and so you'd be able to put enough pressure here to make the lock fail. Easy fix. Just took away a little bit of material, like I said, and now it's 100%. It's not going to fold at all. So yeah. And technically, I could have sent that back to Taylor Brands to fix it under warranty, but you know, $15 knife, I didn't feel like it was necessarily something that they had to do. I could easily fix it. As far as the edge, this is my edge. The factory edge was not that impressive. This is from the Bud K catalog. You know, they send you a billion things if you order one thing from them. But this is the little order form in the middle of their catalogs that they send you. So again, this is my edge. If I can get a comfortable angle at this. So you can get that pretty sharp. Here is a piece of the catalog paper itself. Very thin, very difficult to cut. Let's see if I can't screw this up. A few hang-ups here and there. But overall, not too shabby. There we go. Like I said, this paper is kind of difficult to cut, and that was one big long strip. So you can put a really good edge on it, and I'm not really that great at sharpening. So, you know, if I can do it, pretty much anybody can. And I'll tell you that the edge will not last that long, but if you're someone who's going to be using your knife to cut a lot, I would suggest one of the first things you do is get a knife with much better steel. But if you're looking for a good budget option, maybe something for your kid, if you feel like your kid is responsible enough to have a knife, maybe give this one to them because it's so inexpensive, to see how they treat it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I hope you have a great day, and again, thanks for the watch.